Hey there, gang. Time for another grading video, and we have here a nice stack of Golden Age comic books from the 1940s. So if you like comic books, and especially if you like really old comics, stick around. We're going to have some fun. Hey there, Bubby. Welcome to Shanghai. My name is Duke, and this is a grading video. So yeah, we've got a nice stack of Golden Age comic books here that we are going to look at. I am grading these for sale on eBay. As always, I'm up front with you. I'm letting you know that these are not my books, letting you know where I'm sourcing them from and what I'm doing with them. I work for a company that does business online as SELLMYCOMICBOOKS.com and as DOTCOMCOMICS.com. And grading comic books is about 30 hours of my usual work week. And these will end up on eBay under the seller name DOTCOMCOMICS. So I invite you to check that out. Certainly check out our website. Check out our mystery box that we are running right now. Little fun promotion. But beyond that, that's pretty much the end of the ad. The point and purpose of this video is just to share with you some cool old comic books that you might not otherwise get a chance to look at. Certainly myself, I've been collecting comic books for really almost half a century. And these are books I myself would never get to see. There's nothing like this in any bit of my collection. So, I figure, this will just be some fun looking through some old comic books and give you an insight into the grading process if that's something you're interested in as well. Most of these books will be lower grade, such as this one, Star Spangled Comics number 46. This is DC Comics. And you've got here the Guardian and the Newsboy Legion on the cover. Do you know the names of all the Newsboy Legion members? I'm not sure I do. I think we've got Gabby and Brooklyn, Tommy, and this kid with the glasses hiding back there. I believe he went by Big Words. So this is Simon and Kirby. I don't know. I'll have to look up if Simon and Kirby actually do the work in this or if this is somebody imitating Simon and Kirby. We'll take a quick look before we get into the grading and look at what else is in this book. We've got here Liberty Belle. And I noticed she's not wearing a mask. I don't know if she didn't wear a mask through most of her adventures. And also the artwork is frankly rather crude. I was surprised when I looked into this. There's her splash panel. And then we've got the Star Spangled Kid along with Stripesy, also looking relatively crude in the art department, I must say. Although, really as far as, storytelling and, panel composition, it's as good or better than anything in today's comics. I find modern comics kind of almost confusing to read sometimes. But the artwork itself is a little crude. Stripesy's arm there is about 3 feet too long. Maybe he had elongated powers. Maybe he had broken into Ralph Dibny's Gingold serum. Here's your obligatory text panel, or text feature. And then we have Robot Man. Now this Robot Man is by Jimmy Thompson, and this is just a charming feature. I really like Jimmy Thompson's art. I could go for a Robot Man collection. If there's anybody from DC here listening, I could go for a collection of Jimmy Thompson's Robot Man work. And Thompson was a great artist. He's been compared favorably to Jack Cole and Will Eisner, no less an artist himself than Jim Steranko has said that at times Jimmy Thompson was better than Cole or Eisner. But he died young. He died when he was just in his early 40s in like 1949. So nobody really knows who he is, but I really do like the Robot Man feature by Jimmy Thompson. And once again, here's that splash panel. And then we've got this Penniless Palmer, which is just a kid humor strip. And then we've got, moving ahead there, we've got the Newsboys. And again, I'm not convinced this is actual Simon and Kirby. Maybe it is, but it looks to me like somebody doing a crude attempt to imitate Simon and Kirby. But anyway, we look at the book, and the first thing we want to look at is just its general overall eye appeal. And I start out by saying, well, is it closer to fine or good? It's closer to good. Is it in between very good or maybe a little less? Probably a little less because it is missing a little piece here. You've got a little piece folded back there. Rust on the staples. And so for me, when a book has rust on the staples, it's almost never going to be greater than a 3.0. And, you have to be careful because it's got a piece missing out of the back as well, and that's a fairly significant piece. And I don't have it right in front of me, but the grading guide will normally say something like, if it has a piece this size missing, and this is probably about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches corner, it'll say it can't be any greater than this grade, such as it may be. And we also have a 1/2 inch spine split down here. But you have to do an overall assessment of the book. You have to kind of take in everything, including its just general eye appeal. And so you can't be a literalist and say, well, it's got this. If everything else about the book was pristine, but it had that, you can't go, well, it can't be more than a whatever the guide says. You always want to check your centerfold, and in this case, the centerfold is detached. Always check and make sure that you've got all your pages, and in this case, I'm confident that we do. But with the rust on the staples, and I hope you can see that fairly well, and it's fairly wrinkled up here, some folding. So I think I would be inclined to call this a 3, but because of this piece missing, I think we're going to go at 2.5, and the way this is kind of folded back, and then with the detached centerfold. But I've got the grading guide right here. Let's take a look. Let's take a quick look here. And I'll probably have to do a cut as I look this up. So you can see here, a fair 1.0 says may have up to 1/4 of the front cover missing or no back cover, but not both. So we're better than that. And here the fair to good grade 1.5, up to 1/10 of the back cover may be missing. So it looks like you need to have all your front cover, although it doesn't say so specifically. And the staples may be degraded, replaced, or missing. See, now here's where I'm going to disagree with the guide a little bit. And a literalist would say, well, this book can't be a 2.0. It has to be no better than a 1.8 because the guide says the largest piece allowed missing from the front or back cover is usually, here's a key word, usually, a 1.5 inch triangle or a 1/4 inch square. Well, as we said, this is certainly bigger than a 1/2 inch triangle. That's about 1.5 inches. And it also says staples may be degraded, replaced, or missing. So we haven't quite got to the staple part yet. But I say, again, I'm calling this a 2.5, and it has more than a 1/2 inch triangle missing. So am I wrong? You let me know in the comments below. How do you interpret this? How would you grade this book? But I'm going to tell you, even though it says that, we got a key on that usually, and if you take everything else into account, I'm going to go with the fact that this could be, well, not could be, I'm going to say it is a little better. So here we've got a 3.0, and it says staples may be rusted or replaced. Minor to moderate staple tears, blah, blah, blah. And on the missing pieces, it says a triangle from a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch can be missing out of the corner or edge. So that's a little inconsistent because it says, at the 3, you can be missing a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch triangle. But back here at the 2, it said the largest piece allowed missing is a 1/2 inch triangle. So anyway, but I'm going for a 2.5, and I think, strictly by the definition, that wouldn't cut it. But again, that's being a literalist. And I'm going to give this book a 3. Because to me, the 2 to 2.5, that's when you're getting unsightly. This is overall not a bad looking book. Yeah, you've got a little corner missing here. You've got that piece missing there. This actually could be folded back, I suppose. And the centerfold's detached. So now I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking, well, maybe, just maybe, maybe I'm going to amend myself. Because we do have a few things going on here. You know, when I said I was going to overrule the grading guide, I neglected to remember about the centerfold being detached, so that's an issue as well. So I think I'm actually going to go down to a 2.0. So I talked myself after saying, damn it, I'm a man, damn it, I want to do what I want to do. I came back and went, oh, sorry, I'll come in line. I'll be a good boy. So I'm going with a 2.0. 2.0. Now, there's no question about this one. This one's got some water damage, and those staples are much more rusted, as you can see here. And we've got a spine roll. Now, by this point, Robin has taken over, and you may not have known that Robin did have his own feature, his own solo series back in the Golden Age in Star Spangled Comics. And so he replaced the Newsboys. Look at that, we got about a 1.5 inch rip right there. That spine's pretty rough. It's been bent right here, like the whole thing was folded back right there at one point. We'll look at the features. Tomahawk has come in and replaced Liberty Belle. I really love the Tomahawk feature. Maybe not so much, you know, towards the middle and late 60s when he started fighting dinosaurs and space aliens. But when it was a more realistic strip by Fred Ray. I don't know if Fred Ray did the art in this particular story, but I did like Tomahawk. So he was a fellow, you know, pretty popular at the time, and probably on the back of the Daniel Boone craze. But he had his own series, plus the backup in Star Spangled, and he also for a time was in World's Finest Comics. At this point, Star Spangled Kid and Stripesy are still going strong. Here's their splash page. And here's some more Robot Man by Jimmy Thompson. And it's just so charming. It really is. Jimmy Thompson worked on some Human Torch and other stuff over at Timely, as well as the work that he did for DC. There's the Super Sons. No, it's actually Superboy and Robin, but and we've got there's a Captain Tootsie ad. So Tootsie Rolls had their own superhero mascot at this time, Captain Tootsie. Another Penniless Palmer. It's kind of like an Andy Hardy kind of a thing, I guess. Mickey Rooney. And then here's Robin Caruso, trapped on a desert island. Fashioning the... and there was something at the end of the story. So, see here he fashions a wooden boomerang and other things, other survival tools. He's basically reenacting Green Arrow's origin. Kills a wild boar. But he pulls the swastika off the top of this flag and makes a boomerang out of the swastika. Now, I'm not sure that will work. You try it. Now, if you could get away with building a swastika in your backyard, you throw it and see if it comes back to you. Probably will come back on you if you put it on social media, but otherwise. So yeah, we've got this big water stain here. That huge water damage. It's not too bad. The book is still readable. Somebody has scribbled something here on Robin's legs. Looks like a name, Dan. 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 Dan! Sorry. I had a Flintstones flashback there. So I think I'm going to call this a 1.5. I don't think I need to go quite to 1.0 because while the staples are rusted, they're not, what I call bubbling. The rust is still there on the surface. It's not, the staples aren't degraded or coming apart. But the we do have the spine roll. We have the water damage, and then the edge is kind of ragged. But everything's complete. Everything's there. So I'm going to call that a 1.5. Or should I go lower, where I gave that other one a 2? But that other one was missing a piece. And that's where you get into trouble. And that's why I always say, I never grade for more than a couple hours at a time. Then I'll take a break for an hour and do something else because I find that I tend to get what I call grading drift. And if I'm working on mid-grade books, like everything will start, drifting into a 5 or a 7. And that's when, because you're trying to, not just grade the book you're working on, but compare it to the previous books. And so this is significantly worse than that other book, but that other book, although in generally better condition, was missing pieces of the cover. This has everything, although it has a rip. I think I am going to stick with a 1.5, a fair good. I think if that water damage was a little heavier, I might go with a 1. Oh, it is wrinkled up pretty badly. But again, nothing is detached or missing. And the inside pages don't have any water damage, really. It's just on the cover. No, I'm going to stick with a 1.5 on that. Well, I'm being quite chatty, aren't I? I was thinking this was going to be a nice, quick grading video. Well, this is Tina, and Tina's hot sex. I mean, that bathing suit with like no side to it, just the string. That's kind of sexy for 1940s teenagers, I would think. But this is part of the A-1 line. So just like Dell had its 4-color line, Magazine Enterprises, which is the name of the company that did this, had its A-1 line. And the A-1 logo was only on like the first 17 books, although the numbering is only consistent for the first 12 books. So if you look in like most price guides or on comics.org, the Grand Comics database, you'll see that they only list the books under A1 for the first 12 issues, and after that, they're listed as part of the regular series. See, whereas Dell's 4-color line was essentially a series of one-shots under a common numbering, the A1 acted a lot more like DC's 80-page Giant series, which was similar. It started out as its own title, but then it became the format became part of the a regular series. A regular series. You might have like Jimmy Olsen 95 was an 80-page Giant. And this, after issue 12, the A1, you get a joint numbering. So you might have something that was Muggsy Mouse number 5 is also numbered A1 number 99, just as an example. And so I don't know why they did that joint numbering. I don't know what purpose it was supposed to serve. But this is part of the era where it's fairly simple. Like I said, very straightforward the first few issues. I don't know what Tina was. If Tina was a comic strip that was reprinted, I assume that it was. But anyway, take a look here and we see that the centerfold is detached from the bottom staple. And I do want to, we have some rust on that top staple. We have some water damage on the back with some ink bleeding. So I don't know where exactly that ink's coming from, but it's bled off of somewhere. Got a 1-inch rip here in the back cover. And that bottom staple's rusted pretty heavy. And that's pretty heavy rust, actually. As you can see, again, it's kind of bubbling almost. You know, the metal is, you know, it's not just it doesn't just have surface rust, but the metal itself is starting to degrade and come apart. But now I want to count these pages. That's right, that would make this a 36-page book. So I think I'm going to go a 1.5 on this one as well. Fair good. And again, I don't go down to a 1 because it's all complete. It's not missing anything, you know, other than like little tiny pieces like that right there. And we also have, I didn't mention, a 1/2-inch bottom spine split. But so anyway, there's Tina for you, an A1 book. That's probably not going to do that well because nobody knows who Tina is, and it's low grade. So we'll see. I'll be surprised, actually, if that gets to the $10 mark. This one also may not do well. Target, although it is in pretty nice shape, frankly. But Target, and didn't have an issue number on the cover. What issue number is this? Volume 8, number 1. So this is another one of those, did a volume thing. And this is another one of those books like Fact Comics or True Comics, where it's designed to be all wholesome, good for you kind of stuff. And as such, it's a little bland and boring. Daniel Flannel. Gary Stark. I wonder if he's related to Tony. By Don Rico. And Don Rico is actually a known name. And this is by Nina Albright. So I guess that's a female cartoonist. So I'm going to look up and see what volume 8, number 1 is. But this is in nice shape. You've got a little corner fold down here, but it's nice and square along the edges. You've got some creasing along the spine and, you know, some tears in through here. A little blunting here on the bottom. That cover looks good. Nice and white still. And the pages are nice. The pages are not browned up really at all. They may be just slightly tan. So I am tempted to go to a 6 on that, but I think just a preponderance of stress lines here on between the staples and the kind of blunting on both edges of the spine. I think I'm going to go with a 5.5 on that. But it's pretty nice still. I probably could get away with a 6. It's got that M written on it for some reason. This could come from the Ralph collection, which we've seen in past videos, because some of his books had an M on them when they didn't have his actual name. But I think I'm going to go with a 5.5 on that. So that's a pretty decent grade on that. But like I said, even though it's a nice grade for what year is this? 1947. Really sweet grade, really, for 1947. I don't think I can quite get to a 6. Just because if it was a newer book and you just had those stress lines, but the problem is you've got, because of the age, you've got, I won't actually say soiling, but all those stresses show up just a little bit more than they might otherwise if they were just fresh tears. But you've got some dust, some atmospheric, again, not soiling. It's not like, I don't want to say soiling because it's not like it's been dragged through the dirt or anything, but it's just not as clean as it could be. And so that tends to pick up those and highlight those stress marks. And so just for the record, I looked it up, and volume 8, number 1 is also 79. This is the 79th issue of Target Comics, and this series went to 105 issues. So it's toward the end of the run. And now Terry-Toons, Paul Terry. And this is, I believe, this is a Marvel book, timely. Well, yeah, because we've got Ziggy Pig and Silly Seal. And this is from the Ralph collection. And this is a wartime book because it's got just one staple. So we've got the paper rationing. But you can see our spine is really rough. We've got about a 3.5, 4-inch top spine split. And then we've got about a 3-inch bottom spine split. So the cover's only really attached from about that staple to there. So that's pretty rough. All our cover gloss is gone and a little wrinkled up. Fold here. Some kind of moisture wrinkling here. It's a big book, though. Big, big book. Dinky. Some puzzles. Gotta love puzzles. Andy Wolf and Birdie Mouse. Nutty Tales, The Ginch, and E-Claude Penny Grabber. Wacky Willie. Now, let's see here. Is this detached? This centerfold? Yep. 2, 6. I don't know if we're missing pages. No, I don't think we are. Because it goes 2, 3, 4. So the centerfold's detached, but we're not missing any pages. What else do we have here? Oscar. Oscar looks a little Adolf Hitlerish, doesn't he? Or is Oscar the pig? I think Oscar is the pig, and he's fighting maybe some Germans here? I don't know. That's weird. Frenchie and Flip It Rabbit. And who's our lead here? Candy and Sourpuss. Sourpuss is the cat. So that's interesting. That, wow. Oh, actually, look at that. It was completely detached. And, yeah, that back cover's detached too. So, it was hard to tell at first, unless, golly, in just handling it, I might have done that. Oh, God. But, I mean, sometimes these things are so fragile, they will actually come apart in your hands. You have to be really, really, really careful. So let that be a lesson to you, boys and girls. You know, I probably should cut that out, but I'll leave it in. Because I think that, well, no. I could have fooled myself, because I can see how I would have pulled that back and it would have looked still attached. So maybe it was. I'm not 100% sure if that was detached and I just didn't notice it at first, or if in opening it I pulled it apart. But that is going to bring it down to a, I think a 1. A 1. I don't need to go to a 0.5, a pour, because it's complete. It's not missing anything. There's no chunks missing. We just have the centerfold attached and the complete spine split. But do let that be a lesson to you, kids. Be careful how you handle these books. And the one thing I wanted to comment too on is that this is a Marvel book. It's got their characters, but Zippy Pig and Silly Seal actually don't appear anywhere in this book. They're just on the cover. I'm guessing those characters were popular enough among the Marvel books to try and boost, the sales a little bit. But they're not actually in this book. And that's it, gang. We are going to cut it off right there. I got a little too chatty, so come back tomorrow for part 2 when we will finish up this Golden Age grading. Until then, goodbye, good luck, and please be good to each other.